is how they prepare it. The fish are caught and immediately they'll fire up the boilers and the fish go straight in there. Once they've cooked, then they're put out onto these trays and then laid up on the top. Yeah, so from here they'll take them up to the top of the jetty there and they spread them out on the nets, and there they'll spend the day drying.
Which part of the island are we on right now?
Well, this is just on the fringe of Pankor village itself, which is the main town where the ferry comes in. And this is where the local village people bring in their catch. You can pick a fish now, which we can buy, and then you can go...
David's daughter Tessa continues the family's fondness for Pankor's famous seafood.
Yeah.
Your fish?
Yeah.
You're going to teach me how to choose a good fish, right?
Yes. That one.
This one here.
It looks pretty bright-eyed.
This one is normally good for barbecuing.
You cut it in the middle, take out the bones normally, and then you stuff it with samba.
Chili.
Yeah.
Lots of chili. Tucked away behind Pankor's Forest Reserve, David's wife Rebecca adds the details to their homestay retreat, Tiger Rock.
The flora and fauna of Malaysia is my inspiration. I mean, David and I started a design company. That's what we were promoting. We were promoting Malaysia through its flora and fauna.
So all of this is your artwork here?
Yeah, this is my artwork. It's very colourful, so it's pretty happy stuff, I think, you know.
It just keeps getting better and better, Rebecca.
Like, often get the hornbills coming.
To create the perfect Paradise Island experience, the Wilkinsons have built their home around the natural landscape. So how old is this house?
You know, you're looking 11 years on now, and it's still pretty sturdy.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
This is just...
It's a great adventure, this house. It makes noise. You hear everything outside. When it's raining, everything's amplified.
What's the story behind the rock?
Well, the rocks were here, and we didn't want to move them, and you can't even think about moving these guys. They're huge.
They're massive.
And that's why the house is on so many different levels, because once we cleared everything, we found these big rocks. So rather than think about trying to move them, we just built around them.
So, Rebecca, why did you leave KL?
Well, basically, we wanted to move to Pankor with our kids and give them the opportunity to have the kind of childhood that we had. We'd grown up on estates with old houses. There was always that amazing view of green, that open air breezes, and it took you back in time.
Right.
And this is what we wanted here.
Just next to Pankor is the smaller island of Pankor Laut. No journey through Malaysian waters is complete without a healthy dose of sheer tropical island indulgence.
We are in the middle of a 2-million-year-old rainforest, and so we wanted to build it according to the actual landscape.
Laurent Mitter has promised me Pankor Laut Resort's ultimate spa experience.
We are trying to keep and to represent all the healing traditions of the regions, and to reflect those traditions in our treatments, you know, with local herbs and spices. My grandfather arrived here probably 1920, 21, and he worked on an estate about 5 miles away.
In Aitawa.
In Aitawa.
Yeah.
And then he was a very keen fisherman, so he would come out to the island and built a little house on the other side of the island, and would go out fishing, and my grandmother would stay in the house. And in fact, her wedding present from him was a saddle and a 16-bore shotgun.
Oh, really?
So sometimes she was locked in the house at night, and pirates would come and knock on the door, and she'd be there with a shotgun waiting in case
Really?
they come in, because my
Pirates?
father would be away.
That's amazing. And what do you like about Pankor Island?
I like it because I was born here.
You were born here.
Yes.
This is the fourth generation to be on Pancor in my family.
It's a very special island because it's, you know, the people are here, they've got a long history. They're not trying to be anything different. They're not sort of trying to make it a tourist destination.
Yeah.
They're just living their lives, and that is what's so nice about Pancor.
Wonderful. The coming days will give me the chance to reconnect with my own roots in Malacca, my final destination. Of all Malaysia's historic cities, none has a story as rich and as captivating as Malacca's. Located at the narrowest part of the Malacca Straits, this port was once at the center of the world's trade, linking China to Europe. It set the template for all other trading outposts in this part of the world. Today, Malacca is enjoying its recent award as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The streets of Malacca's old quarter are lined with buildings hundreds of years old. Here, where the past is still very much on display, it's not surprising to find so many antique stores. But for me, it's hard to know the difference between what's treasure and what's junk. For some expert advice, I've come to meet maritime archaeologist Sten Sjøstrand.
Hey.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Denise.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Hey, great.
How old is this?
This one is 500 years old. Come from a ship. Yeah, yeah. Anybody would see it's genuine from the marine growth on it. This type of shell actually takes 250 years to grow to that size. But if we were to look at another form of a plate,
Where are we?
yeah, we can look at this one. Would you then buy this one? It doesn't have shells, but it could be a piece kept in the museum. Mm-hmm. Would you buy that piece in an antique shop?
I have no idea whether it's authentic.
I think it's too glossy, actually. A piece is 600 years old, right? People move it around, there's scratches, right? Fakers know that too. So they've seen a scratch it, okay? It makes you believe that it's genuine. But there's a natural scratch. There is a natural feel to it. But I can tell you, if it's 600 years old and it's glossy like it was made yesterday, it probably is made yesterday.
How do you know so much about all this?
I have located 10 different shipwrecks in South China Sea. It's undescribable, actually, to dive down something like that. Crystal clear water in one case. Just go down and find, you know, a whole pile of pottery down there. And when you take up all this pottery from these different shipwrecks, you get a fair idea after looking at thousands of pieces. This shipwreck here, for example, the Wanli shipwreck, is very interesting in Malacca because this ship sank on the east coast of Malaysia because it was shot down by the Dutch. We wouldn't be looking at this piece here now if it wasn't for the Dutch trying to capture Malacca in the 1625.
For Sten, pieces of pottery open passages to Malacca's glorious past as a prized port contested by maritime superpowers.
Malacca Sultanate had a 90-year successful trade period. Spices coming from Moluccas, porcelain, silk, and whatever coming from China. And the Portuguese basically took that over.
Because they wanted the business.
They wanted actually to have a direct route to the spices in Malacca, which always came through Malacca.
Right.
But before them, it went to India and Egypt. And now because they have found a sea route around Africa, they could take the spices from Moluccas via Malacca and then directly back to Portugal. And thereby being in competition with Italians who imported it before through the Middle Eastern countries.
So they basically became the most powerful people then.
They were the most powerful people at that time, yes. And that's the reason why the Dutch came down here and wanted to take over that empire again at 1600.
Everyone wanted a piece of the pie.
Everybody wanted the spices, yes.
Yeah.
That's how it was, yeah.
500 years on, a small Portuguese community remains in Malacca, holding firmly to the faith brought by their ancestors. Hi, Peter.
How are you?
Nice to meet you, Denise. How are you? Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Denise. The community's leader, Peter Gomez, has invited me to take a look around the Portuguese settlement. This is a really interesting area here.
Yes, actually we have about 1,200 of our people living in this area.
How have you kept the community so strong?
Now the religion is the binding factor of all. We have a statue that goes around from house to house. It stays in each house for 3 days and then it goes to the next neighbor. That's how we pray as a family unit. We pray together with our neighbors and they converse back again in their Papia Cristang.
Cristang, the language.
Portuguese, yeah.
Ah.
Papia Cristang is actually the old antique Portuguese. Now this is the 1511 Portuguese I'm talking about. It has very little grammar inside. It's simplified Portuguese. But the Portuguese of Portugal can understand us.
So if I were to say, hi, how are you? How would you say that in Cristang?
Kina Sambos.
Kina Sambos.
Kina Sambos. To me, most important is to preserve our culture. I'm trying to preserve it through the festivals that we have. Actually, the festivals is to recharge back our culture. Every year we do the same thing over and over again. It's in the dance, it's in the songs, it's in the prayer. So everything is there.
In the coming weeks, Malacca's Portuguese community are preparing for Intrudu, the festival that signals the Catholic period of Lent. Rehearsals get underway for traditional dances and songs that will kick off the celebrations. Bravo! What was that called?
Vira, the Bible Portuguese. The dance of the people of the village we call the Portuguese settlement.
Is it difficult to learn?
Yeah, no, it's not difficult to learn. It's very simple dance.
Okay, I want to try.
Okay, let's try.
Will you teach me?
Sure.
All right, I'm ready.
Right.
Let's stretch a little bit.
1, 2, 3, 4. You turn the other way around.
I'm here.
Okay.
Pretend I'm here.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. You pull.
Okay.
Turn. One round.
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, cross. 3, 4. 1, 2, cross. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1.
Olé! Today, Malacca continues to stand out as the most significant port of entry by the Chinese into Southeast Asia. The streets are abuzz as the city's Chinese community prepares to celebrate the Lunar New Year. This is the culmination of my personal passage across the seas. My Chinese roots are here, and I've come back to reconnect with them. Uncle Jimmy! How you been, Uncle?
Growing older.
It's been so long.
I've got you some chendol.
Famous for its gula Malacca.
Yep.
Wow.
This is what it's all about. How's your sister?
An avid history buff, Uncle Jimmy Tay is the perfect person to help me explore Malacca's Chinese history. It's so good.
And from here onwards, this is Temple Street. And before you reach the temple proper, these are all shops selling a lot of worshipping paraphernalia. But along this road, you have many places of worship for various religions, you know?
You're right about having a harmonious little street here.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of everything, you know? And then one of the oldest temples in the country is just down the road there. Clear Cloud Temple. This temple was built 300 years ago, and even until today, it is still the major place of worship for the Chinese. Now, on New Year's Eve, thousands of Chinese devotees will be here to welcome the New Year.
Fascinating. This is amazing. By far the biggest historical event in China's long connection with Malacca was the arrival of the great Admiral Zheng He, or Cheng Ho, who first brought his treasure fleet here in 1405.
That's where the fleet started from Nanjing, and then it moved its way down to Vietnam, and then eventually down to
Malacca,
Yeah.
this area.
During his entire 7 journeys, Malacca was always a very important supply port.
Okay.
And they were huge. In fact, you can see the size of the treasure ship.
My.
That's the fleet. It was the shock and awe of the 15th century.
That is humongous. I mean, what do you do when you see a fleet like this?
You
just
give
surrender.
up, you don't fight. You could never fight a fleet like this.
The 600-year-old Chinese burial grounds of Bukit China bear testament to just how long the community has been an indelible part of Malacca. And from the very beginning, how they have integrated with local cultures.
600 years, you know.
Malacca is the birthplace of the Baba Nonya, a hybrid culture of Chinese and Malay, unique to the Straits settlements. Today, one of the most recognizable features of this fusion culture can be found in its special blend of culinary creations.
Hello. Hi, Nancy.
So, yeah, my baju, you see, so nice, huh?
Is this the traditional way?
Yeah, really traditional.
Wow. So what is this?
Croissant.
The croissant. So beautiful.
Yeah.
And you always have them in threes when you wear the kabaya.
Baju kebaya.
Baju
Kebaya with sarung. Kebaya.
Sarong.
Yeah.
And then the
Nancy Chun is a household name in Malacca's Baba Nonya food scene. She's famous for running her kitchen with absolute precision, watching over every detail of her family recipes.
I want to learn how to cook.
Yeah?
Will I get scolded in the kitchen?
Yeah, last time Nyonya always scold, you know. If you
Really?
never
Your mom
do-
scold you?
Yeah, until you become smart. Yeah? Alright, so you can pound for me.
Okay.
Pound this one first. Pound until you become very fine, yeah?
Harder. So where did you learn all of this?
From my great-grandmother,
And these recipes are passed down
oh, many years.
many
It's
years.
almost 100 over years.
So you're saying these recipes are 100 years old?
Yeah, from my great-great-grandmother.
The chicken.
Chicken. Plus the
So Nancy, what are the true characteristics of being Nonya?
fussy, very fussy. That is this way to cook.
And does that happen in the food as well?
Yeah, it's
Really?
The food also be very fussy. Okay, careful, eh? How you taste like? A bit.
It's so delicious. Yum. Sedap.
It's Chinese New Year's Eve. The streets of Malacca are ablaze with the advent of festivities that will carry on for the next 15 days. Tonight, at the oldest temple in the country, Malacca's Chinese community celebrate not just the beginning of a new year, but also their place in the heart of one of the world's great cultural crossroads. It's Chinese New Year. This morning, Nancy has asked me to help her deliver some food to an open house she is catering for.
This is a beautiful space.
But this is no ordinary house. This is the family home of one of modern Malaysia's founding fathers, Tan Cheng Lock. The open house is hosted by his granddaughter.
This is Tan Sok Chu.
Hi, Xiao Chu. I'm Denise. Nice to meet
Welcome
you.
to this house.
You have a breathtaking house. Would you take me on a tour?
Yes, certainly. I'll be very happy.
I didn't know how long it was.
Yes, this is the second courtyard of 3 courtyards. And this is the photograph, some of the more historic photographs in the house. That is a photograph of the Reed Commission, which actually met in this house. The Reed Commission was made of judges from the UK as well as the Commonwealth countries. And their role was to write the Malaysia's constitution. The fact that these events took place in this house and in Malacca underscore Malacca's role in the country's history. This hall is what I would describe as a spiritual heart of the house because it houses the ancestral tablets and portraits of the ancestors. That is Lee Chai Neo, the wife of the first ancestor who came to Malacca in 1771. What is unique is that it is of a woman.
Yes.
Because in China, the ancestral portraits that hang in the ancestral hall are of men. In Malacca, for some reason, all the houses that I've been to, they all have a woman.
Women's rights.
And they also say that all the women depicted in the portrait were local.
As Nancy's dishes are served and the open house gets underway, I haven't forgotten another New Year appointment that awaits further down the road. This is a special moment for me. I haven't seen my great aunt since I was 9 years old. Uncle Jimmy helps me reunite with the rest of the family, some of whom I'm meeting for the first time.
Sister Mona?
Your cousin.
No, auntie.
Very well, very well. Yeah, all good. Oh, it's okay. You come see us in Singapore. Come in Singapore. Yeah. Yeah?
好掛住佢，都冇笑冇食，
冇相干。
冇相干。
冇相干。OK。
No OK 我得。
少少啦，我識聽啊，唔識講。婆婆。婆婆。
Your granny.
You look so similar.
Same 啊。
Same.
似喎，同你之後。
好靚啊！
好靚啊！生到你咪夠靚咯，你媽都夠靚喎。生到前至落啦。
Auntie 飲茶，恭喜發財。May all your health be good, prosperous life, happy new year.
加油！
恭喜發財。
收埋佢嚇。
唔該晒啊，唔該晒。
My journey through Malaysia's maritime passageway ends with a new beginning. It's given me the chance to discover new routes as well as old, taking me back through time to understand how such a unique blend of cultures truly is a gift